Hey, welcome to another trauma-informed tidbit. We're going to do this one today a little bit differently, just kind of speaking off the cuff. And this was inspired by recently being in some schools and just seeing some behavior that wasn't ideal from a trauma-informed perspective. And what you're looking at right now is from the view from 10,000 feet, according to SAMHSA, which is the main federal agency that governs and funds a lot of substance abuse and mental health treatment. What they have identified as their trauma-informed approach, and they use the 4 Rs. And if you kind of go around with me, starting at the left, is to realize that trauma exists and you know that there's paths to recover, but there's also impact, recognizing signs and symptoms of trauma, responding to that information by changing the way we behave, and that includes policy and practice. And here on the bottom, we're going to look at resisting re-traumatizing. There's different ways that we can do that, and that includes looking at historical oppression and generational trauma and trying to share leadership and put people at the table. But at the end of the day, the things that you can do as an adult, as one person in your building and whatever your role is doing everything you can to ensure that we're creating a safe environment for all kids and for all adults. But that is not just physical safety. That also includes emotional safety. And that, if you look at this part right here, that also includes interpersonal interactions with kids. And one thing I see a lot, and I've even heard adults debate me that this is a practical and effective strategy, is simply yelling or shouting or screaming at children. And sometimes I've noticed, and actually that's what prompted this video. I saw a young man about 6th grade. The first adult he came in contact with to start his morning at school was yelling at him and screaming at him because of something that was slightly out of dress code. Did that young man need to adhere to dress code? Sure, that's part of the rules. But the way the adult went in it, I just need you to understand what that can do to the mind of a person. One of the things that we work with is something called the Polyvagal Ladder, and it really looks at this main nerve that goes throughout our bodies that controls our whether we feel safe or not. And when we start out our day, we're at the top. Hopefully, depending on your environment at home, we may start out, I should say, at the top of that ladder, which is basically like feeling safe and secure. And when we're in that space, we're able to access parts of our brain that allows us to have healthy relationships, to learn, to critically think, to use executive functioning. But what happens is when we feel fear, we go down that ladder. And when somebody's screaming and shouting at you, especially with a power differential like that is literally physically taller than you, and then also just the fact that they're an authority figure, you're probably going to go down this ladder at least some. So what I need you to know and to understand is that we can debate all day whether or not that you feel like you should be able to yell at a child, but I need you to know that when you do, more than likely they are going down this polyvagal ladder, and for at least 20 minutes or so, maybe all day, depending on how much that child has been triggered or re-traumatized or just made to feel unsafe, that due to chemical reactions going on in their brain and their body, they're not going to be able to learn. They're not going to feel safe. So we talk a lot about academics, but when we do this, we're really shooting ourselves in the foot for a child's actual ability to learn. Let me know if you like the structure of going around and talking about the 4 Rs of being trauma-informed educator. I'd love to do some more of the tidbits on that. Thank you.